right? Only 35% of Americans have a positive view of Elon Musk. 53% view him negatively, and 12% felt it would be inappropriate to respond because they are currently pregnant with one of his children. Sales of Teslas are way down all around the world, and so for the first time, this company that famously doesn't buy commercials released their first ever commercial.
I love Tesla.
With endless custom designs, make your own mark, set the night on fire, and lead the parade.
Why are some Tesla owners suddenly trying to hide their cars? Elon Musk's popularity seems to be plummeting. His own daughter wants no ties with him, and now Jimmy Kimmel has unleashed a merciless roast. He took aim at Musk's political donations, chaotic family life, and the growing uncertainty around Tesla's reputation. And let's just say, Elon didn't take it quietly. Between his heated comeback and the bigger scandals brewing around him, this might be one of the toughest hits to his public image so far. Stay tuned as we unpack all of it, because Jimmy Kimmel just went after Musk, and his response was anything but measured.
Then we have our bromander-in-chief, Elon Musk, who is reportedly planning to give $100 million to 2 Trump super PACs. And I'm sure the gift has nothing to do with the fact that Trump had a press conference to tell us about Tesla's low finance options. Has a quid ever been pro-quoed more than this one? The guy in charge of government efficiency just spent $100 million to sell Trump a $90,000 car.
Jimmy Kimmel pulled no punches when criticizing Elon Musk's most recent political maneuver, accusing him of an obvious quid pro quo with Donald Trump. With his trademark wit, Kimmel noted how Musk's hefty $100 million donation to Trump's super PACs lined up almost too perfectly with Trump endorsing Tesla's financing deals. The coincidence was glaring, and Kimmel didn't miss a beat in mocking how absurd it looked. According to Axios, Musk's contribution isn't merely large, it's a record breaker, both in scale and timing. It raises major questions about how much sway billionaires like Musk hold over US politics. During the previous election cycle, Musk reportedly spent more than $290 million on political causes, twice as much as George Soros spent on Democratic efforts, per CNN. And Kimmel's kicker, he joked that if Biden did the same thing with Soros and the ACLU, Republicans would be in absolute uproar.
Sure that if Joe Biden had put George Soros in charge of the government, and then George had given Joe $100 million in exchange for hopping into a new Kia Soros, Republicans would have been very cool with it. It was 2 thumbs up from Fox News, right? Only 35% of Americans have a positive view.
The comparison is striking because it's accurate. When Musk donates to Trump, it's hailed as a savvy business strategy and a salute to free market principles. But when Soros funds Democrats, it's painted as part of a grand conspiracy. This blatant double standard is hard to miss, and Musk keeps capitalizing on his shifting political connections. Not too long ago, liberals hailed Tesla for pioneering green energy and tech innovation. Now, as Musk aligns himself with Trump, he's winning over a different audience, one that once scoffed at electric cars. And it's not just politics at play here, it's also a strategic business choice. NPR reports that Tesla's sales among Republican-leaning consumers have risen since Musk became more vocal in conservative circles, while progressive buyers are backing away. What used to be a symbol of eco-friendly luxury has evolved into a political declaration, but is Musk simply playing the political game, or is there a deeper motive behind his financial backing of Trump? Kimmel's jokes resonate because they hint at real-world outcomes. Although Musk often criticizes government interference, Tesla has benefited greatly from federal tax credits and subsidies. A Trump administration could mean relaxed regulations for EV manufacturing, additional government aid for SpaceX, and policies favoring Musk's ambitions in AI and energy. Then there's social media. Musk owns X, formerly Twitter, and a Trump presidency, brimming with controversies and headline-grabbing moments, could generate enormous engagement and ad revenue on the platform. More Trump tweets mean more traffic on X, which ultimately boosts Musk's profits. In short, this isn't about simple loyalty, it's about securing power. Musk isn't just giving money to Trump, he's backing a political landscape that supports his business empire. But while Musk plays big league politics, Kimmel aimed for his personal life next. And let's just say, some members of Musk's own family tree aren't exactly celebrating him. Why are a few of his relatives stepping away from him? And how did Jimmy Kimmel turn Musk's ever-expanding list of children into one of his sharpest jabs yet? Let's dive in.
Right? Only 35% of Americans have a positive view of Elon Musk. 53% view him negatively, and 12% felt it would be inappropriate to respond because they are currently pregnant with one of his children.
Jimmy Kimmel didn't stop at Elon Musk's political connections. He also took direct aim at his private life. He joked that 12% of Americans were too busy being pregnant with Musk's children to answer polling questions about him. Beyond the laugh, the remark echoed a growing sentiment. Musk's approach to fatherhood appears more like a numbers game than an emotional bond. Musk has never lived by traditional norms. While other billionaires might blow their fortunes on mega yachts and luxury getaways, he's more preoccupied with boosting the human population, child by child. As of now, the Tesla chief has at least 14 confirmed children with multiple partners, including musician Grimes and Neuralink executive Shivon Zilis. He's openly stated that declining birth rates pose humanity's greatest danger, and his solution: have as many kids as he can. But it's not just the sheer quantity that raises eyebrows, it's the pattern. People magazine revealed that Musk recently welcomed his fourth child with Shivon Zilis, a key figure at Neuralink. In other words, he's not just employing top-tier talent, he's also building families with them. If that weren't dramatic enough, his decision to have twins with Zilis in 2021 was reportedly kept hidden from Grimes, who discovered it through the press. Just think about it. One of the planet's richest men, the mastermind plotting a Mars colony, can't prevent his personal life from turning into tabloid fodder.
Say working on the Starship rocket down at South Texas, and I'm just staying in my little house by myself.
Kimmel's barb stings because it's rooted in reality. Musk's standpoint on having children isn't merely personal, it's political. He's repeatedly warned of an impending population collapse and insists that wealthy, smart individuals should be reproducing more. While some admire him as a forward thinker, others call him reckless. And even as he doubles down on his mission to rescue humanity, not everyone in his family shares his enthusiasm. Elon's father, Elon Musk, hasn't pulled any punches in critiquing his son's parenting style. In an interview with E! News, he bluntly stated that Elon isn't a good dad, accusing him of being too focused on his corporate empire to properly raise a family. If Musk's own father is sounding the alarm, that's pretty telling. But the harshest rejection came from Musk's daughter, Vivian Jenna Wilson. In 2022, she legally changed her name, dropping Musk entirely and making it clear she wanted no part of him. Her reason: his rightward political shift and his anti-LGBTQ.
Because we've already paid for it with our subsidies. Are you fucking saying? Come on! Going to the hospitals. After the show, Governor Musk tweeted, or X'd, I guess, that he would like to come on here and talk to me.
This is freedom of speech. I'm allowed to say what I'll say what I want to say, and if the consequence of that is losing money, so be it.
I guess what I would say is this. Look, Elon.
Jon Stewart just did what hardly anyone else in the media has dared to try. He took on Elon Musk head on, and Musk, let's just say he didn't exactly rise to the occasion. Musk's been going on about how he's open to having real, honest debates, but as soon as Stewart actually called him out, Musk started backing off pretty fast. So what did Stewart say that hit a nerve, and why did Musk suddenly shy away? Stewart came back to The Daily Show ready to stir things up. The last time he hosted, he went after Musk's so-called Department of Government Efficiency, basically a rebranding of the DOJ, poking holes in the idea that a billionaire, especially one famous for cutting costs and laying off huge numbers of workers, should be the one to decide what's efficient when it comes to running a government. But before diving back into all that, Stewart had a quick personal update to share.
Just pick up something from the last time that I was out here. I'd made a bit of a critique of Elon Musk and the Doge program. Let me reset the scene. I am not allowed to have big boy mugs anymore.
Turns out Jon Stewart isn't allowed to use ceramic mugs on set anymore. Why? Because the last time he went after Elon Musk, things got a bit too intense. In the heat of the moment, Stewart slammed his mug down on the desk during a rant. It made a huge noise, and pieces of the mug went flying in every direction.
Because we've already paid for it with our subsidies. Are you fucking saying? Come on! I'll be going to the hospitals. You know, it's important to remember who the real heroes are.
It wasn't just a big dramatic moment. Stewart actually ended up cutting himself during that rant. Yep, live TV and real blood, all because he got that worked up over Musk's government project. After that incident, the studio decided to take no chances. They pretty much child-proofed the set. Instead of his usual ceramic mug, Stewart was given a safer option. The irony? Kind of spot on. The guy who just went after Musk for extreme cost-cutting had now been labeled a safety risk himself. His network figured the best way to make him more efficient was to prevent him from getting hurt in the middle of a monologue. Funny as it was, Stewart didn't let that overshadow the point he was trying to make. His issue with Musk's so-called Department of Government Efficiency wasn't about wanting to make government work better. It was about how Musk planned to do it. Because Musk's take on efficiency wasn't about fixing problems. It was about slashing the budget. And if you look at how things went down at Tesla, X, and SpaceX, it follows a pattern. Cut corners, lay off workers, reduce support, and hope the problems sort themselves out. Stewart explained that while efficiency sounds good, who doesn't want a government that uses money wisely? There's a big difference between cutting waste and just cutting costs. They're not the same thing. When you treat the government like it's a startup, you don't just remove what's unnecessary. You end up getting rid of programs people actually depend on. Government services aren't apps you can update later. If Musk botches a rocket launch, he reschedules. If a Twitter feature fails, he can backpedal. But if you gut funding for things like public health or disaster response, real people feel that impact and they can't just restart. That's really what Stewart was getting at. This wasn't some noble effort to improve the system. It was about control. A billionaire using the idea of reform to push his own agenda, all while pretending he's just looking out for regular folks. So Stewart called him out. And Musk? He didn't stick around to debate, he bailed. Just like that ceramic mug, his ego cracked under pressure. The only difference? Stewart's crew cleaned up the mess. Musk left his behind and walked away. Then came the twist. Musk demanded an unedited interview. Was that about transparency? Or was it more about controlling the story? He said he was open to a real conversation, but only if it went exactly how he wanted. After Stewart's scathing critique of the so-called Department of Government Efficiency, Musk went on X to say he'd come on The Daily Show, but only if the whole thing aired with 0 edits.
So I thought about it, and after a prayerful week with my family. Well, a family.
The whole thing was meant to paint Musk as some bold truth teller, someone who's not afraid to speak openly, as long as the media doesn't twist his words. But Stewart wasn't about to let that slide. He didn't just agree to the idea. He practically called Musk's bluff and dared him to follow through.
You know, hey, that's actually how the in-studio interviews normally are. Is unedited, so sure. We'd be delighted.
Using his usual mix of humor and clear insight, Stewart pointed out that The Daily Show already shares long, mostly unedited interviews online. So Musk's demand wasn't some brave push for transparency. It was more of a built-in excuse, a way to make himself look like a victim before the conversation even took place. And just as fast as he threw out the challenge, he pulled away from it.
He then said, after saying I'd like to come on, Jon Stewart cannot be trusted, and that I am a propagandist, and you give me too little credit.
The same billionaire who's always complaining about censorship and the mainstream media suddenly decided that Jon Stewart couldn't be trusted to handle an interview. It was a pretty surprising change of direction, and Stewart didn't waste any time breaking down just how weak Musk's excuse really was. So what actually went down? Why did Musk back away from something he claimed to be all for? And what does this tell us about how powerful people like him use the media to control their image? To really understand why Musk backed out, you have to look at his complicated relationship with the press. He likes to present himself as a defender of free speech and open dialogue, but in reality, he's more comfortable when he's the one steering the conversation. He's known for butting heads with journalists, threatening to sue over negative coverage, and even putting limits on how much news users can see on X. His issues with the media aren't just random, they're part of the playbook. Musk knows that the press often holds people like him accountable, especially when big promises don't pan out. So instead of engaging with journalists in a fair their way, he paints them as enemies, accusing them of being biased or dishonest. That way, if a story criticizes him, his supporters are already convinced it's part of some bigger agenda. That's why his call for an unedited interview says so much. On the surface, it sounds fair. Who wouldn't want their full words out there without any tricky edits? But that wasn't really the point. Musk's demand was about maintaining control. If Stewart had said no, Musk could have used it to claim the media was trying to silence him. But when Stewart said yes, Musk lost that angle. And that's exactly the part Stewart was ready to bring to light.
Bipartisan, that's just the So, I guess what I would say is this. Look, Elon, I do have some criticisms about Doge. I support in general the idea of efficiency and delivering better services to the American public in cheaper and more efficient ways. And if you want to come on and talk about it on the show, great. If you don't want to, sure.